A reading from Hebrews chapter 11. Hebrews 11 and verse 23. By faith, Moses' parents hid him for 3 months after he was born, because they saw he was no ordinary child, and they were not afraid of the king's edict. By faith, Moses, when he had grown up, refused to be known as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose to be ill-treated along with the people of God, rather than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a short time. He regarded disgrace for the sake of Christ as of greater value than the treasures of Egypt, because he was looking ahead to his reward. By faith, he left Egypt, not fearing the king's anger. He persevered because he saw him who is invisible. By faith, he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, so that the destroyer of the firstborn would not touch the firstborn of Israel. May God bless his word to us and what Dusan has to say to us this morning.
Thank you, Jim. So, good morning. Thank you very much for this opportunity to be here to share God's word with you, but also thank you very much for your hospitality. We were so blessed in the last week with so many things. First, we enjoyed your weather. I know it's different, but in our country it's really warm now. It's plus 40. This was so refreshment, and we enjoyed your nature. But above anything else in your hospitality. So David, Peter, Jim, Pam, we saw so many things. We enjoy all day traveling through to coast and railway, museum, and so many things. So it's really special. So first, I want to apologize for my English. I speak simple, broken Slavic version of your language, but I hope you will understand me. So my name is Dusan, and that meaning man with the soul on the Slavic languages. And my wife, she's Mirjana, or Mira, and that means peaceful, and that is not true. So we are from Serbia on the Balkan area, and I would share God's word, but on the same time I will share some stories from Balkan. And word Balkan come from a Turkish word, 2 Turkish words. One, bal means honey, and kan means blood. So when the Ottomans came there in the Middle Age, they saw our land and they said this is land when honey and blood flow together. And that is true. That is how is Balkan, and that is story of Serbia. Winston Churchill, he said that Balkan are powder keg of the Europe, place where it's so easy that things will explode. And First War was started there because one Serbian guy killed king of Austria, and that was beginning of all the troubles. All around Europe, million people lost their lives. And even now, or my life, I saw 6 wars who happened there. And even now, we are in the big protest riots who happening all around Serbia, clash between police and the people. So it was always some problems there. From other side, me and my wife, my wife and me, we coming from Novi Sad, that is city on the north. And that city, meaning Novi Sad, meaning new garden or new plant. And it was established like one idea that after centuries of work was there, that Novi Sad will be a place of new beginning, or new hope, or new opportunity, or new place for life. So Why I'm sharing this? Because on the same place is a lot of troubles, a lot of sorrow, but it's also stories of hope and new beginning, and that is with our life. And I'm sharing this picture with you. This was made like 2 weeks ago, and on one conference, and I find it later on the social networks. So it was not taken any attention, but this picture is so powerful, not only because my wife, beautiful wife, is there, but she's sitting there with 3 ladies, and they drink coffee together. And some was there and take photo, and even didn't think who is on that photos. So I will explain. So behind my wife is one lady from Bosnia, Muslim from Bosnia. On the other side from that lady is woman from Kosovo, Albanian lady from Kosovo. And for this lady from Croatia. And if you know story, with all of this of Balkan, with all this country, we was in the war. And you cannot see things like this, that Serbian will sit with Albanian and with a Bosnian lady and the Croat. That don't happen anywhere, only in the power of Jesus Christ. So why this happened? Because Jesus Christ bring them together. And that is story of hope. And this is our church in Novi Sad. And what is special about evangelical churches is that people from different ethnic backgrounds can come together. That is the only place where is unity possible. So on the same place, we see stories of brokenness, Balkan, land of blood, and land of hope. And 2 stories can live together. That is my message. In our mind, we grow, especially here on the West, people think one is true or other things is true. It's not possible to have like 2 stories who are true. But I'm from East. And on the East, Bible was written, usually you have 2 stories who coming together and often confuses. So we read from the Hebrews 11, story about Moses. I will come to that story later. But everything starts with the definition of faith. Now faith is assurance of things hoped for and conviction of things not seen. And this is definition of faith, how we see faith. Faith is not something that we see in this moment, but things that we expect that will happen in the future because God will do something. So that is faith. Assurance in the God, that God will do something in the future. We take in position like God. We're looking like God in the future. That is like if you ever build house. On the beginning, you have only field on that place. And you come to that field, and house is only in your mind. It's not there. But you put foundation, and that is beginning. And faith is like that. We're starting to build something on the foundation. And foundation are promise of God. And in chapter 11, we see a story of heroes of the faith, one by one. We see examples of people who choose to believe in God's promise. We see the story of Abraham who left his country and went to unknown. We see the story of Noah who built an ark and there was no rain at the time. We see different stories of people who take some actions and start to develop, to make their life on the God promises. And step by step, we finally came to the Moses. And it's interesting how God here speak about Moses. By faith, Moses, when he was grown up, refused to be called a son of Pharaoh's daughter. And when we read chapter 11, we see that Moses decided, and by faith, he chose not to be part of Pharaoh's court, not to be part of Pharaoh's family, but he chose Israel, who was his family. This is this story happened many centuries ago. Jews were slaves. Jews was 400 years in slavery in Egypt. And Moses, by this chapter, chose to be part of their slave nation. And why I choose this verse? Because I read it Exodus 2nd chapter a few months ago. You know the story. Moses was born in the Jewish family. Law was that all Jewish child need to be killed. His family decided to keep him 3 months. But after 3 months, they was afraid of laws and Egyptians, so they put them in the basket and live in the Nile. And they didn't know what will happen with this boy. But the princess of Egypt find him and bring him in the court. He grew up there. And after some years, maybe 40 years, he finally went to see his people. And he saw how one Egyptian beating his one of Israel's, or people from Israel. And he beat this guy, kill him, put underground, cover, expecting that nobody will know what's happened. But when he heard a few days after that Egyptian know what's happened, he ran from Egypt to the desert. Okay? And what I want to emphasize, do we see courage there? Maybe in the beginning. But later, he was afraid. His family was also afraid. That is why they put him in the basket. Moses was afraid and he ran from Egypt. We don't see any faith in his behavior. He ran with the spear and he spent 40 years in the desert and never think that he will go back. He was surprised when God came to him 40 years ago later and called him to mission. He was surprised in that moment. We don't see any faith in his behavior in Exodus 2nd chapter. But when we read Hebrews 11, God say, oh, look, example of Moses. He was man of the faith who chose this way. And I am often confused. God, what is true? Are we reading same Bible, God? Are we reading about same things? You know, you look differently than me. Because I see Moses who was afraid and ran. I understand maybe you don't agree with me, but you don't agree with me only because you know all stories that happen later in the Bible. But if we choose only 2nd chapter, we see man who was afraid, who ran and stayed in the desert 40 years with no any idea that he will come back to his people. That was moment. But God say differently. God say, look example of Moses. Look example. By faith, when he was grow up, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. God, where is faith? Where is faith? He chose rather to be mistreated with the people of God than to enjoy the fleeting pleasure of sin. God, where you see that? In Exodus 2nd chapter. Do you understand me? I hope I speak clearly enough. And even bigger surprise for me is story about Sarah. How you say Sarah? We say Sarah, so yeah. And by faith, Sarah, who was past childbirth age, was enabled to bear children because she considered him faithful who had made the promise. And again, we see how God spoke about Sarah, that she, by faith, received son and promise of God. And if you go to Genesis 18, story is different. Some 3 people came to Avram, her husband. She was in the tent. And God, obviously there was God, give them promise, I will give you children. Sarah was behind them. And what she did, she laughed. And God say later, why Sarah laughing? And she say, what? I didn't. So she lied. So what we see in the Genesis, what's happened? God came, give promise. Sarah said, that will never happen. I'm too old. It's too old. God, what are you doing? Why are you giving me now promise when it's too late? And God said, Sarah, why are you laughing? And she said, no, I didn't. She lied to God. God, where you see faith in the Sarah life in that moment, it's no faith. She lying, laughing, and don't believe to God. And what is true? But both sides are true. But we see what is obvious, but God see what is deeper behind. God see what is potential. God see what can be. God see story behind. For us, it's so easy to focus on the things who are on the surface. God is different. He see behind. He see possibility. He see some special. I was reminded when I write this sermon, when my son was small, he loves soccer and he wanted to train this sport. So, but he was similar constitution like me, not good for sports. And on the field, you have always the small guys who are fast and much faster than my son. And usually, what's happening, they run through, and my son was too slow to catch them. And fathers who was around me say, "Oh, this boy, what he doing? He don't know to play." But in one moment, when these young, small kids came in contact with my son, that was over, He stopped them immediately. There was no chance to cross my son. And that moment I say, look, that is my son. God is different than me, but it's similar. Because we see Moses who was afraid, but God say, look, my Moses. Look faith on him. And I say, God, where is faith? You don't see faith. Faith is there. But God, I don't see faith. But I see faith, God said. I see my son Moses. Or with Sarah. Sarah, God laughed on your promise. You say, no, you don't see faith behind. You just don't see potential. And that is my story also. I grew up in the communist family. So my father was communist dissident, and he really believed in the story of communism. From other side, I was one of the kids who suffered from many problems. I suffering still from dyslexia. I have issue in the reading. I don't recognize some colors. I have some, when I was a kid, I had some speaking issues. And in that time, kids with all these problems was not treated like kids with a special need, but was treated like stupid kids. So I was one of stupid kids. My nickname is Bera, and people usually call me Bera because my family name is Bereji. And when I write my family name and we learn it to write, I miss so many letters that I sign only with the 4 letters. And kids start to laughing, Bera, 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 and that stick to me. Bera was somebody who was stupid, who will never be anything. My only hope was that story of communism, of brotherhood of nation, paradise on the earth. And came 90s, 1 war, 2nd war, 3rd war, 4th war. Suddenly we hate each other. We was before Yugoslavia, now we was enemy. And I was teenager, stupid teenager. And what to believe now? So I choose with my friends, we heard about punk music, anarchy, and other things, and we said, okay, this is something for us. But with them came alcohol, like teenagers, and drugs. And till I was 20, especially after army, I was drawing shake like this. I destroyed my life. And I was only 20 years old. No hope, no future, no desire to live anymore, ready to die, 20 years old. That moment, my friend first time invited me to church. So I came to church. I was shocked with the message. One word. Preacher, I don't remember what he spoke, but he said how he wake up with the joy in the morning. And I was sitting there in the black with no hair, angry. When I last time wake up with the joy? For me, it was not possible to remember last moment of joy in my life. So I decided maybe here's some truth. Other things happened there that night, and I will share this because I know that you're collecting harvest for the hungry. I don't know which project was this, but that night was a group of people from England. And was van with the boxes of food. And they give it to me, one of the boxes. I was surprised. I was first time in the church when I went home. And at that time, we didn't have what to eat in my family. And I remember I bring that box, we open, and it was strawberry jam and ham. And me, my father, and my sister were sitting around it and looking at that food. And it was so surprised that somebody sent us food to Serbia in 1994, in the time of the war. But anyway, after that I was with my friend in the club, so it was loud music, was a lot of drugs, alcohol everywhere. And I told to everybody, and I became Christian this evening, but I was not. Just heard about Jesus and joy of waking in the morning. But I didn't know what Jesus did for me. Nothing. That was absolutely new story for me. And when they start to drink, I wanted to drink with them also. And there was a lot of drugs, and I wanted to use drugs. This was the first time when I ever prayed in that punk club. I was in the dark, stand behind and tell God, if you don't help me now, I will die. Help me, God. And was some song from the church that I remind, the song Silent Night was Christmas time. So I repeat a few words that I remember from the church. And again, God, help me now. And in that moment, I was free. Just free. Something happened in my heart. Hope came first time in my life. I really physically felt hope here. And that night I came to one girl and told her, she was my good friend, Lilio, I don't drink anymore. And she went home and told her sister, something was strange to this night. Bera was smiling and he was so happy and he was not drunk or on the drugs, because all people know me that I'm always angry, only when I was on some substance. And that girl who heard that story later became my wife, so that is how I know what's happened. So that was Mirjana. And I was free, because God didn't saw one angry young man full of hate, but saw something different. And I still people call me Bera, but why? Not because I'm stupid. I start to study, so I finished one degree. I have master degree in water management, and later I studied theology. I have master degree in theology, because I was not stupid. I was just broken completely. But when Christ came to my heart, everything was changed, because God don't see stupid Bera, but he see Bera who can be transformed to something completely different. And now I'm pastor of the church. But I'm not only pastor of the church. I work with addicts. I love to work with addicts. I love to see how God transformed their life. And next Sunday we will have baptism, and 6 men who was in the rehab will be baptized first time in their life. And this is Draško, One of them, he was football hooligan, drug dealer, mobster. He was all his life he was only violent, and violence was so big in his life that he forgot how to speak even normally. And when he came to Christ, after a few weeks, he visited his family, and his mother told him, "My son, this is first time after 20 years that I can understand you. You know, that you have a complete sentence, that you can speak," because he was so in the violence, in the evil, that he was broken and lost even to speak normally. It's one story. The story of Nenad. Nenad was 15 years on heroin addiction. His life was on the end. He came in the rehab, but from other side you see him with his wife now and daughter, and he's leader of rehab in this moment, helping people who are in addiction to find freedom. He was broken, but God saw potential. God saw what he can make from him. God saw something that he can use to transform his life. This is the story of Srđan. Srđan came in our rehab center to die. He was on methadone 20 years. A methadone is substitution for heroin. But on the same time, he was seriously sick from a cancer. So he came to die, and after some time, not only that he was free from addiction, but he was free from the cancer. And here you have his picture with his wife. And there are church planters in Croatia, in the one Serbian city, where is no church, evangelical church in this moment. And God using him to preach gospel there. Again, men with no hope. And this is also story of Branko. Branko was 20 years in heroin addiction, severe addict. He was thief, and many years he was in the prison because that was way how he get money for heroin. On these pictures you see him with his wife, Antonia, and 2 daughters. He's a great guy. But after rehab, God put in his heart desire to help homeless. And in that time we worked only with addicts, not with homeless. But he came to me one day and asked, "Bear, can we do something for homeless people in the street?" Something simple. There was some bathroom in the church, and so he asked, "Can we use that bathroom to invite them to come to shower, and we'll give them some food, we'll collect from the people in the church?" I told him yes. And one ministry was born, and the name of that ministry is Hand for the Friend. We are not organization who giving them just food. That is not our desire. We decided we want to be friends for these people. So we cook food together with them, and it's challenging, but yeah, that is our decision. We will cook food. We will not separate church from them. We will try to be together with them. We eat with them. And through this ministry, a few months ago, we heard official statement from Novi Sad that we solving 30% of all emergency case for help in Novi Sad. One church of 200 people, 30%. We were shocked. And how did it start? Because God saw something in Branko and started to transform his life. And Branko started something new. Church joined him. And now we are solving 30% of problems in our city. And you're part of the story. That is why I share. You're collecting harvest for the hungry. And we receive some amount for homeless people. And because they're homeless, we cannot give them big box because somebody will steal that from them. So we're making small packages every Friday. They can put in their backpack, keep safe. Nobody will take them from them. And on that way, you're part of this story of transformation in Novi Sad. People from England helped me, and I was on the beginning. I was really touched. I still remember how we sitting around that small box in the 90s and cry when we saw strawberry jam. That was first time that I ever tried something like that. I was so thankful, and that was part of story who bring me to Christ. But even now, with helping through Hands for the Friend, help for the Hungary, you're helping us to do you're helping many others. I can share with you about ministry with the Roma and how they change all community of the Roma. I can share with you many other stories of church planting in the area where are refugees, where God used this food to open door to the heart of the people. But I will stop here. And what was my desire with this sermon? I hope you understand my English broken. Sorry again. Need to put other glasses. It's so easy to see only bad things, maybe in our life of other people. But what is good? God teaches us, through example of the faith, to see differently. To see what He can do in the life of people and in our life. It's differently. For us, it's easy to see only negative things. But God sees different. That is faith, and that is challenge of the Bible. To move our logic, Greek logic, and to see that in the one story, we always have two sides. And God chooses that good side that He can transform and make some special. Like with that small box of food. Some family here in England or Northern Ireland packed that box. And that came to my home in the moment when I was ready to come to Christ. And that was like one step closer to Christ. And that is how God do. We see box, food, but God see miracle. Thank you.